Welcome to the special discussion with Sri S.V. Acharya Garu, President Emeritus and founder of Shankar Nethralaya Om Trust Inc. in USA, and his wife Srimati Nirmala Acharya Garu. This organization is also the only body authorized to collect contributions on behalf of Shankar Nethralaya in the United States. Every year, thousands of patients are suffering from vision-related issues due to poverty, lack of good eye care facilities, and lack of timely medical help in rural villages. From the past 4 decades, Shankar Nethralaya is standing by those patients and helping them by providing free eye care clinics, surgeries, accommodations, and required necessities. In 1988, Sri S.V. Acharya Garu founded Shankar Nethralaya Om Trust Inc. in USA. The mission of this organization is to spread the philosophy, conduct charitable events, raise funds, and provide donations to the Shankar Nethralaya in India. From the past 2 years, Shankar Nethralaya has been ranked one of the best ophthalmic centers in India, and the name Temple of the Eye became synonymous to Shankar Nethralaya. Shankar Nethralaya Om Trust is the only Indian organization that acquired highest ranking of 4 stars from Charity Navigator. Sri S.V. Acharya Garu and Srimati Nirmala Acharya Garu are the true inspirations and motivated many like-minded people to join this great cause and a journey to do God's own work. In 2020, the trust transferred funds to support almost 21,000 free surgeries, out of which 7,108 are minor surgeries, 1,589 are major surgeries. In addition to this, every year they support hundreds of rural school screening camps and eye camps for the impoverished patients in the remote parts of the India. With this, I would like to invite Shankar Nethralaya President Emeritus Sri S.V. Acharya Garu and Srimati Nirmala Acharya Garu, who has dedicated their lives for the sake of humanity. Welcome to the show, Sri and Srimati S.V. Acharya Garu.
Very much, Prashanta ji, Ragini ji, Mana TV, and Bala Indurti, our president, for giving us an opportunity to present our Shankar Nethralaya in Mana TV.
Pleasure is mine, sir and ma'am. Both of you are true inspirations for today's generation, and I feel extremely fortunate for having this conversation with you today. So, Sri S.V. Acharya Garu, you started Shankar Nethralaya USA in 1988 and served in many capacities. At present, you are serving as President Emeritus. So, before we get to know your involvement in the trust, me and our viewers would like to know more about your childhood and some personal questions. So there is no doubt that the childhood plays an important role in shaping us and what we are today. So how was your early childhood and education?
I was born in a small village near Udupi district in Karnataka state. Udupi is known for 2 things. One is Lord Krishna's temple. Second is Udupi restaurants, probably you see all over India and here. My father was a very orthodox person. My mother was a very pious lady. I went to school in the local village up to my 8th grade. Then one thing obvious was that there was a lot of poverty in the family. There were 11 children, and my father was a little bit of land he had, but not a whole lot of wealth. So I had to find some means to get my education. So I was sent about 10 miles away to a place, something known as a mata or a monastery. I stayed there for 3 years. Then I went to high school. And at that time, evenings, I had to study the Vedantic scriptures. Daytime, go to high school, finished high school with good credentials. Then my father had a different plan for me. He wanted me to go for Vidyapita. This is the Vedantic studying center in Bangalore. He wanted me to become a Vedantic scholar. But I knew at that time, about 60 years ago from now, the future for the Vedantic scholars was so grim. So I thought, this is not something I'm going to do. My father was very disappointed. However, he agreed with me, compromised with me, and let me go to college. I went to college and completed BCom, 1964. At that time, that's a turning point. I want to take up a job and support the family. But my 2 brothers, they thought I can do a much better future if I got higher education. They financed me and helped me to go for chartered accountant course. I finished that in 3 years. So in 1967, I became a chartered accountant, and of course, CS generally can fairly decent living. This is briefly my early childhood and my education.
That's so inspiring, Acharya Garu, because at such a young age, you have your own decisions and you stood by your decisions. That's so inspiring. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your experience. What about you, ma'am? How was your childhood life?
Childhood was very different from my husband. I come from a middle class family. My father ran restaurants in Chennai. I was born and raised in Chennai. Um, my father had 9 children, 8 girls and one son. We were raised very sheltered life. Girls have to get married by 18 and things like that. So my childhood was very structured. We went to a convent education, and that's it. Once we reached 16 or 18, we just got married. That was how but throughout my life, I've seen my parents, how they lived their life and what they did. Our house was filled with relatives growing up. My aunts, my cousins who were not well to do, they were given a place to stay, food, shelter, education. So somehow I think it all just was part and parcel of our growing up. So we never thought twice that giving something that we have or sharing was anything big deal or anything. So we just did it what came naturally. So I owe a lot to my parents, I think, for what life they lived and showed us. So I would credit my parents for most of the sharing that we do now.
That's so awesome, ma'am. It's very nice to know how your childhood has shaped you. And now you are with Shankar Netralaya and helping so many people. That's so inspiring. Thank you so much. Sri S.V. Acharya Garu, after education, how was your professional life journey?
My first job was as Assistant Administrative Officer at Life Insurance Corporation of India in Bombay. The job was good, the pay was, everything was okay, but I did not find enough of challenge that a young professional seeks. So I thought I got to make a change. So instead, after 2 years, I changed to a more challenging position at Associated Cement Companies. That was in Shahabad, Karnataka state. There, I was there for about 2 or 3 years. That time, that income was good, but still that was not sufficient enough to take care of my family. I had to support my parents, sisters, and all that. So I thought I got to do something. And I applied for immigration. That time, USA used to permit qualified accountants to come here. So I applied for immigration while I was in Bombay. Got approved. Right after my marriage, I migrated to Chicago. My brother-in-law used to live there. Then my first job was with the City Colleges of Chicago as assistant controller. Yeah, it's a community college system for Metro Chicago. I was there for about 4 years. That time I also got certified as certified public accountant. Right after that, I went to my boss and said, look, I'm a CPA and a CA, so get me some promotion. And he said, look, next promotion is my job. I don't plan to quit this job. So there's no other chance in this place. I started looking around. Then I got a very promising opportunity in Fairbanks, Alaska. I went there as accounting manager for an oil refinery, stayed for about 3 years. But the downside was that the weather was extreme weathers. In December, you see 21 hours of darkness. In June 21, you see 21 hours of daylight time. And again, it is very, very harsh, too far away from the main continent. Then I thought I got to make change. So I changed. I had a brief jobs in San Francisco, then Houston. Then I came to Metro Washington, D.C. My first position was the state of Maryland as fiscal administrator for about a few years. Then I joined a Peace Corps as accounting director, stayed there for 5 years. And after that, I joined a federal agency as director of budget operations for about 11 years. I was there, and I retired in 2016. So it was a very challenging and very satisfying professional life I had.
Thank you so much, S.V. Acharya Garu. It was so inspiring to see the ambitions, how ambitious you were, and the struggles you went through for the betterment of life. That's so inspiring. Thank you, sir. Ma'am, how and when did you meet Acharya Garu, and how was it like moving to this country with him?
When my parents were busy getting us off married, because every daughter, after 2 years, the next one was married off. So when my turn came, I think my dad fell over head over heels about him, because he's a chartered accountant and he's young, he's taking care of his own family. So all parents think is somebody who takes care of their siblings have to take care of their wife too, right? So my father's logic was, this is really a good person, you should. So a lot of that time, I don't think we think much. It's basically our parents convince us about what is best for us. We trust them. So he came into my life, and then within 10 months, he came abroad, which was a blessing, because now I could pursue what I wanted to do. Because back home, those times, once you get married, housewife and taking care of children is all what you look forward to. Here I could go back to school, and I took computer courses and computer science and accounting. So while I was having my son and he was growing up, I was attending school. So basically, life took another turn, and started getting interested in working outside the house, taking care of the family. So coming to USA changed my life completely.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your life journey. So, besides Shankar Netralaya, are you both involved with any other non-profits and charity organizations?
When I migrated to USA, I was in Chicago. I served as treasurer for Kannada association called Vidyaranya in Chicago for about a year. Then I moved to Fairbanks, Alaska. Again, when I came back to Washington area, I became treasurer of local Karnataka Kannada association called Kaveri. Served a few years. I was also auditor for them for a while. Then I served as editorial advisor for CPA journal called Journal of Accountancy for about 6 years. Publish a publication every month. We get a lot of articles by various writers. We review them and approve them for publication. Also, me, Nirmala, and our friends arranged a 3-day conference here for people coming from my hometown area, South Kannada and Udupi district. 3-day event in 2004. Trustee of local temple here, Sri Shivashnu Temple, for about 3 years. Then, of course, I joined Shankar Netralaya. I started this organization in 1988.
Awesome, awesome. So it is very nice to know that besides Shankar Netralaya, you are involved with so many community activities and organizations. It's very nice. So coming to Shankar Netralaya, we would like to know more about its vision, mission, and the services provided to the public.
Netralaya was started by Dr. S.S. Badrinath. He had his MD in ophthalmology with the specialization in retina and most complicated areas. And right after he finished his MD, went back to India to serve Mother India. And he attended one of the lectures by Kanchi Kamakoti Shankaracharya, where he impressed upon the philosophy of serving with the missionary spirit. What do you do with some kind of service to the needy people, poor people? That impressed him quite a bit. Then he started the Shankar Netralaya in a small scale. At that time, maybe 8 or 10 beds or something like that. Now it became a big, huge operation with so many locations and so many beds, so many hospitals and all that. Their whole objective is to provide free service to the poor and affordable price for others. This is one of the main thing, their thing. Poor means whose income is less than 12,000 rupees per month. They are given free service. They are brought from their village, put them up, feed them, treat them, send them back to their village. That's what they do. One thing is that. Second is they also provide ophthalmic education, graduate, undergraduate, postgraduate, and fellowship. All this they provide. Nursing school they have. And 1 in 12 ophthalmic professionals serving the India are trained by Shankar Netralaya. And lastly, they also do ophthalmic research, India-centric research, so that they will prevent blindness, rather development of ophthalmic disease in the country. That's what they're trying to do. In addition, they do school screenings. So when children are tested at a very young age, all the problems can be identified and they can be treated. That's one thing. Also, what they call teleophthalmology. They go and have a camp in a village or so. They test all the patients. The ones who need treatment, they are brought to the main campus. They have eye bank. Anybody who dies, they can donate their eyes, and it's treated. It's given to for patients who need them. Another major thing is the mobile eye surgical unit. This is an operation theater on wheels. There are two buses. One serves as the operation theater, other one as the preparatory unit. And they prospect all the patients. Then these two buses go out to the village. They camp there for about 12 days. They treat the patients. After post-operative care, they come back to the main campus. There are two such units, one in Jharkhand in North India, and another one in Chennai. They go about 17 to 20 camps every year. Each time they treat about 180 to 200 patients. That's what they do, is the one. This is the first of its kind in India, rather in Asia, because they have to perform the most hygienic conditions. It's not easy to have the same kind of operation theater in the village, in that location. And every day they treat about 2,500 outpatients, perform 250 surgeries. Last year they treated 800,000 patients, outpatients, and 60,000 surgeries they perform every year. Netral is not the largest ophthalmic institution, but it's the most qualitative care center. That's why they are considered as one of the best 100 hospitals in the world. Also, they're given so many awards, and I can go on and on. Our founder is given the title of Living Legend and Padma Bhushan by the President of India. This is briefly about Shankar Nethralaya.
That's so awesome, sir. Any medical equipment they come with a lot of cost, and you and SV Acharya Garu and Nirmala Acharya Garu, you are supporting Shankar Nethralaya from USA by conducting so many charitable events and raising the funds. This is so commendable. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing. So in what way you think Shankar Nethralaya is different from other organizations?
Organization was started by Dr. S.S. Badrinath. He's a very disciplined person. He wanted set up a very high standard for anything that's done there. And employees know that. That's why every employee knows they have to serve the missionary spirit. They put long hours. They are very conscious of the quality of the service they're providing. And also, we got a lot of endorsement by people in India, like Nani Palkiwala, almost all his estate here. Ratan Tata is another person. Likewise, so many people have supported the thing. Dr. Badri is a visionary. He wanted to do lots of things for them. And of course, he was able to accomplish that. And these employees are committed and dedicated. That's one of the biggest assets for the organization. And also, they send a lot of their doctors for training in the US and then send them back over there. So the difference is the quality of the service they provide and the commitment of the employees that they have. This is the difference between other organizations.
Awesome, sir. So, ma'am, Acharya Garu covered a lot of things about Shankar Nethralaya. So, do you want to add any inputs?
Shankar Nethralaya, just the name commands so much respect, and people all over the world, come there for the services that is so unique. I had once gone, and everybody wants to get the surgery done because they don't want to wear eyeglasses. So over here, if you want to get that done, they will do it right away. No questions asked, because that's money for them. But what surprised me was Shankar Nethralaya. When I went there and I said, I want to get my eye operated, so I won't wear glasses anymore. They said, no, we cannot do it. You have a problem with astigmatism that we won't be able to fix it. So, when a lot of hospitals are there just to make money, very rare you find an honest hospital that will say, I do not want to do that, because I had my sons, two sons, me, everybody ready to get it. And they said we all had the same stigmatism that we should not get it done. So that impressed me a lot, because I live in a society where a lot of unnecessary surgeries are performed just for money making business, And the humility, of the doctors, they're all well trained in their field, but they're so down to earth. There's no ego, there's no, they're all service minded, That really impressed me a lot about the institution. And I'm yet to find a hospital in India that is so well run. Like when you go there and visit the hospital, for a split second, you forget you are in India. It is that well maintained. So that's another thing that impressed me a lot.
Awesome, ma'am. That's really nice to know that nowadays everyone are behind money making, but the Shankar Nethralaya doctors are, for them, the patients come first. Their patients' welfare is the most important thing for them. Thank you so much, ma'am. So, Shankar Nethralaya is a brainchild of the living legend Dr. S.S. Badrinath Garu, and I assume that you might have got an opportunity to meet him personally. So, how was your experience with him, and how is he in real life?
Dr. Badrinath is one of the most disciplined person and also a highly focused person. He's only committed to service of the people. He comes here. I came a number of times to our home here. He stayed here. He went across the country too. But his objective is only to meet the professionals, visit doctors, donors. This is what's mostly interested. He's not interested in the sightseeing or these things. Okay, this is the thing that makes a huge difference from him. And he's visionary. And his discipline that has translated to all the other employees in the organization. The whole organization has that discipline now. That's why the service is good and the quality is good. I've been able to do a lot more things for the society.
Very nice, sir. Nirmala ma'am, what was your experience with Badrinath Garu?
I met him as a guest in my house. He used to visit us quite often. I was very terrified because what do I cook for someone who's used to a lot of restaurant foods and so much? So I just did my South Indian, Carnatic cooking and all that. Very terrified, but he loves food. He's a foodie and he enjoyed. And for me, it's like, oh my God, he loved my food. And it's just that the feeling of homeliness is like a brother visiting you. He makes you feel that comfortable. And more and more, I keep saying, the more you achieve, the more down to earth people are. That is what I want to say about Dr. Badri. I would go out, do some shopping, and come back, and I find him playing Jenga with my son and joking around. That side of personality, it's very hard to see when you don't meet the person, but when they're living in your house for a week or 10 days, you see them relax and you see the different personality. And we were very blessed to see him. And everything about him is just simplicity. That's why I think everybody thinks he's such a great personality, because we went to Tirupati with him and my sister was very surprised. We're getting down and he's standing there taking her luggage and we're like, no, that's okay. He said, no, give me your luggage because you're coming down. So, it's just too much for us to accept somebody who's a legend to just be down to earth, and always he sees good things to say about the other person. That's one great quality I learned from him. It's never about himself. He always, if I say something, he will always turn around and make me feel better with his words, so it's an amazing personality.
Wow, such a beautiful memories with him. I think you might be feeling nostalgic by memorizing all those things. Lovely, ma'am. Thank you so much. So all of this seems to be a lot of work and a lot of efforts that you need to put in. Like constantly, you need to put in a lot of efforts. So what inspired or prompted you to start Shankar Nethralaya USA, and what still drives you to this day?
It's kind of a rare coincidence, I would say, because I'd never planned to start anything here. What happened was my father had eye infection. He was in the small village I come from in Udupi. And then the question, what do I do? But somehow they could not take care of that in Udupi itself. And I told him to come to Chennai, where my in-laws stay. He came there. Then the question was, what do I do? Where do I take him? Want an appointment quickly. My stay is short. Then somebody recommended go to Shankar Netral. It's a non-profit, very highly reputed organization. Then I somehow managed to get an appointment with Dr. Badri. We took him there. He took care of the infection issue. Then knowing that I'm a CPA from US, and he said, look, I have a lot of friends in US. Can you help us in starting some organization there? Then I said, okay. In fact, he had in mind that I serve as some support person. His folks will take care of that. But I came back, I contacted the people and all that. Nothing much happened for 6 months. In 6 months, they visited us. Dr. Badrinath and Vasanti visited us. Then they told me, can you take upon yourself and do it? Then I said, okay, it's my way, divine message I'm getting here. Let us do it. We started that. In 87, they came. In 88 June, we started this nonprofit organization with IRS exemption. And it came to being. And very glad to see that today we collect more than $1 million every year with the support from the public. So it's not my effort. I mean, started something. Our first president was C.V. Narasimhan, former Undersecretary of United Nations, which is 33 years now. And I'm very, very happy to be associated with this organization and the support I get from all the trustees, the volunteers, and the donors. And TV channels like Mana TV and other TV channels who are publishing our events and all that. We really appreciate that.
Thank you so much, sir. It's very nice to know how you are supporting Shankar Netralaya in India by raising so many funds. That's really inspiring. So, Nirmala ma'am, so what prompted or inspired you to support Acharya Garu when he decided to start Shankar Netralaya in USA?
Strongly believe nothing is really planned. Sometimes things happen and take you, and we were blessed that it landed in our lap to do what we are doing. He always feels very sad sometimes that when he took his father, he had to make the decision to inject that one eye that was not working. So to basically get that one eye blind. Always he said, it's a very difficult decision for a son to make. But they said that it would infect everywhere and he would have problem. He was already 85 years old. But I tell him everything has a reason. Now he is responsible with the trustees and the people helping. Thousands and thousands of people are getting eyesight. So I always tell that your dad's eyesight had to go, but there's so many people who received on the other end. So God works in miraculous ways, they say. So we never went seeking for Netralaya. Netralaya landed on our lap. So we are very blessed to have a cause that is such a good cause to give eyesight to so many. And what I understand is the blindness is curable in India because 50 to 60% is cataract, and people don't get it corrected. So you're giving a livelihood to people. Like I saw one of the advertisement they had, the woman was saying when she is blind, she cannot even go and sell fruits in the market. Now it's a livelihood back given to her. It's not just eyesight, So these stories make you feel it's only a blessing that somebody gave you this chance to be part of. So I'm very enthusiastic about the whole opportunity.
That's so lovely, ma'am. I just got goosebumps by knowing your experience in life, Acharya Garu, and your experience in life. How other people, so many people are getting benefited because of one experience in your life. That's really, it's something which gives purpose for our life. some meaning to our life. That's really nice, ma'am, for sharing your experience with us. So, Acharya Garu, what are the objectives of Shankar Nethralaya USA?
Objective of Shankar Nethralaya is very simple. We want to raise as much money as possible, spend as little as possible, and send as much money as possible to Shankar Nethralaya to treat poor people. That's all the objective. For this purpose, we have 35 trustees now. Our President Balayandurti increased the number from 25 to 35 trustees now. We have 14 chapters throughout the country. They're all working very hard, get the funds from different people. So we are able to collect more money and spend. Our administrative expenses almost 1% because nobody's paid for this. Everybody's volunteer here. That's a simple objective: raise as much money and send as much as possible to India. And we don't provide in medical service here. We do refer some cases for training in India. Some of the people come from internship. We refer them there. They provide those opportunities. Basically, that's all the objective here. Very simple. Send as much money as possible. That's what we have been doing for the last 33 years.
That's so nice, sir. So in USA, we see there are a lot of charitable non-profit organizations. So with competing organizations seeking the same donors, how do you raise funds? And what are the various donation plans you have?
We do advertise in different medias, newspaper, the website is there, and also we have trustees. They have their own friends and relatives, and we have endorsement by big names, big brand ambassadors like Abdul Kalam, Ratan Tata, Nani Palkiwala, Mr. Ganguly, Rajnikant. These are people I've been talking about this organization. So we get a lot of endorsements, and also number of Indians migrated in the 80s. They know about the organization, and also they have been our supporters. And we do hold our mid-year campaign, the year-end campaign like that. Every year, end of the year, normally everybody the first donation may come a little bit late, but once they're convinced that our cause is genuine, we are spending very little money and help most of the money go back to India for the poor service. They become lifetime donors. So when it's an year-end campaign, we get huge response because everybody has designated, I want to send $100 or $500 or whatever. End of the year, they just send a check to us. This is how they do. And also we organize number of events here. Of course, because of the pandemic, we could not do as much as before, but we do 8 to 10 or 15 concerts throughout the country by the local chapters, raise money for that. And our tariff is like this. For $65, we provide cataract service on a poor patient. For $250, for major surgery, we perform on a poor patient. $2,600, they perform 40 cataract surgeries in a single day. For $2,200, they perform perpetual major surgery for 12 years. So likewise, there are so many donation plans. So this is how they have been doing, and we are getting very, very good response from the donors in the country.
Thank you so much, sir. Nirmala ma'am, do you also provide any inputs or any thoughts or suggestions while planning these various donation plans?
Yes, he gets tired of my suggestions because I'm constantly giving him suggestions, but he's the only person, he has to take care of it. But most often, they have a good group of trustees. They have meetings constantly over the phone, over the Zoom. So they come up with a lot of programs to raise funds. Recently, one of our trustees, his father passed away. He couldn't go to India, but he raised 200 days of music programs he organized in honor of his father. And, different ways our names are getting out there. So basically, they have a good group of trustees who come up with a lot of programs and who are very enthusiastic about this organization. So other than me just giving him a little bit of this and that, there's not much I do from this end. as far as fundraising.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, under your leadership, Sri Acharya Garu, we would like to know the overview of Shankar Nethralaya USA activities, especially the trust activities during this pandemic situation.
We started this organization in 1988 as a small entity. Today, it's a fairly big organization with 14 chapters across the country, 35 trustees. We also have one of the very, very active president, Bala Indurti, since 2019. So he's be able to get more trustees, get more resources for the organization. And every year we hold 10 to 15 events in various locations. Also, we also raise funds through what's known as a combined federal campaign. This is a federal program under which federal employees can donate money to their payroll deduction. We collect that. Also, United Way, we collect employees' payroll matching programs. And in 2016, we had Rahman concert in the United Nations celebrating 50th year of Bharat Ratna MS Subbulakshmi's event in 1956. 56, that was one event. Of 50 years, 2016, in paying tribute to Bharat Ratna MS Subbulakshmi, we had A.R. Rahman concert organized by Shankar Nethralaya at United Nations. That's a great success. And we collect funds every year for that should be sufficient for about 20,000 cataract surgeries. And during the pandemic, it has been a little bit tough in last year and this year so far. Last year, we had several events. Few of them are like by Rahul Vellal, we had a concert, virtual concert. Same thing with Kanyakumari, we had a concert. Shobha Raju concert was there, virtual. And this year we had what's known as the Shadadina Swararchana, meaning 100 days of concert by our trustee in Los Angeles, again virtual. Then we had Kuchipudi dance by Neelima Gattamanagu from Atlanta. For 100 days, they had their Kuchipudi dance programs. And each event, people donate money for us. The ones who are watching the program, they give. Also, we had another one when Nirmala mentioned now about one of our trustees' father passed away. He started a concert series for 11 days. But somehow it was so popular, it went on for months and months, and for 1 year, continued. With all this, we have been able to connect to people and also raise significant amount of money and give an opportunity for the people to have virtually show their talents. So this has been one of the important elements for this organization.
That's so nice to know that you are indirectly also encouraging our Indian culture, like promoting the Carnatic music and promoting the classical dances. Not only raising the funds, but you are also encouraging our culture. That is really nice to know. Thank you so much, sir. So we also came to know that the Shankar Nethralaya Om Trust is the only Indian organization that acquired highest ranking of 4 stars from Charity Navigator for financial accountability and fiscal transparency. Could you please explain a little bit about this?
Charity Navigator is one of the very well-known charity organization, ranking organization in USA. And there are a number of strict criteria to be given 4 stars. That's the highest ranking one can get. Your expense ratio should be less. You should have certain policies in place, and overhead expense should be under certain limit. There are a number of factors. Look, audit should be pretty clean. That number of things should happen. That's the only after that they give you that 4 stars. And we have been trying to we are pretty clean operation, very transparent operation. We want to minimize the expenses and collect as much money and send as much as possible back home. So based upon this, they have given us 4 stars, and we are very happy about that. And I hope they will continue to get that for the years to come.
Very true, sir. I mean, definitely you will be acquiring these 4 stars from Charity Navigator for the following years. So, ma'am, Nirmala ma'am, so what were your thoughts when you heard about that you acquired 4 stars from Charity Navigator?
The organization is very transparent. Um, Even before the rating, there are several fundraising, even the United Way and all that. They come under lot of harsh scrutiny for spending money for flights and traveling for the administrators and all that. Here, nothing like that. Everything goes to India. The phone calls, the everything, internet is whatever we use from each one's homes. So basically, we stand on the principle that, whatever you donate. My sister used to donate through United Way, and she used to say, I'm sending you $50. But when it used to come to us through the process, we only got like close to $3 or $4.
Oh.
So I told her, please just give it to us in a check. We'll get 100% because there's all these different middleman who takes money in between. So if people pay by check, it's 100%. If they pay by credit card, some percentage goes, but for some people it's convenient because they put it on credit card monthly, so much to be deducted. So I think the way they run the organization earned the credit of the rating, which makes us stand apart from other organizations.
That's so nice, ma'am. Nice to know all these things. So, Acharya Garu, you were honored with prestigious Shankar Ratna Award by Shankar Nethralaya. Can you kindly explain what is this Shankar Ratna Award and how this award is given?
Shankar Nethralaya is a non-profit organization taking a lot of support from the public, financially and non-financial too. They take a lot of support in India and also from US. And in 2003, they made a decision to honor those people who supported them in a significant manner. Okay, this is the year of 25th year or the silver jubilee of Shankar Nethralaya. They formed a committee to select a person who made significant contribution for the organization. And every year they have been giving this award to somebody. Some of the recipients are Ratan Tata, Mr. A.M. Naik, chairman of Larsen Toubro, Dr. Madhavan Nair of ISRO. And 2006, the committee chose to give it to me and Nirmala because of our association with this and for having started this organization in the US and do whatever we can. I'm very happy for them. I'm very, very thankful to Dr. Badri and Shankar Nethralaya and the selection committee for giving us an opportunity and the honor. And we would like to do whatever we can rest of our life.
Thank you so much, sir. So, Nirmala ma'am, when you were honored with Shankar Ratna Award, how it was?
100% goes to him because he, in the beginning stages, it was a one-man show, and he did the setting up of the 501c and everything, So basically, in the initial stage, my children, my relatives, who were in my house, would help out. So I think the honor goes to him because he's the only one who was doing most of the work. We were just assisting him. So it was a very nice feeling to be recognized because everybody needs motivation and, feeling of understanding what you're doing here, because in America, raising funds is not easy. Everybody thinks before they donate. It's not just emotionally anybody gives money, So raising funds and sending most of the money to India, that itself is a big task here. So I think it's a well-deserved honor for him, and I'm very happy he got that.
Very well said, ma'am. Ma'am, Acharya sir also mentioned that you are integral part of whatever he does. And that one sentence shows the essence of life partnership. And it just made me glance Shiva and Parvati in both of you. So what type of role you played in the organization?
In the beginning, there are a lot of doctors coming home. They were coming for training, so they would stay here. he was working plus doing this, so taking them out, sightseeing, cooking, and I was working that time. So it was a juggle, and we were doing all that. And in the beginning, setting up stage shows for raising funds, we would go like an hour before, and it was two of us trying to set up the stage. Then I would be sitting in the entrance collecting fees, tickets, and we run to different Indian stores putting flyers. So a lot of initially we really had to do a lot. Down the road, a lot of people took notice of the organization and started volunteer base started getting very big. And like I said, the trustees who came, the presidents who came, each one took it one step higher. The programs went very well. So we are very well recognized in the country. And my contribution, I would say, is to support him every time he's on the phone. We get very little time of him in the house. So those are the contribution I can really say that we have to share him to the cause. So other than that, they are really managing it very well.
Thank you so much, ma'am. There is no doubt that there is a old saying that behind every successful man there is a woman. So that represents you. Thank you so much. So Acharya garu, how is the response from the younger generation? How do you attract them to get involved in the trust?
Trying to get more of younger people to the organization. I'm one of the oldest person. I'm the one who started in 1988, and I'm still there. Of course, my title is President Emeritus. My heart is in it, but won't be able to do as much as I used to do before. So currently we have I'm the only trustee from the original batch of 1988. We are trying to attract a lot of people. Average age of our trustees is between 40 to 60 now. We want to get more younger people. And what to do is, here in the University of Maryland, there's an organization called Mayuri. They organize intercollegiate dance competition. We sponsor that event every year, and we speak there, present our video and all that, attract them to be part of our organization. Also, some of our young people hold a small concerts in their own home. Young people, there's one person called Jay Kannan. He's holding one in his house every year, raises about $5,000. Likewise, people are doing. And recently, we had what I just mentioned about Shatadina Swarachana, 100 days of concerts. So they gave opportunity for a lot of young people to perform. So these young people know about the organization. They become our ambassadors, volunteers, and eventually maybe trustees. Same thing with the Kuchipudi dance. 100 days of Kuchipudi dance happened. Again, we gave the information to a lot more people now. And this Jagannath Memorial Concert, that's for 1 year in a stretch. So together we had about more than 500 artists perform here, young people. So they all know about it. They eventually become part of it. We want to attract them and they kind of, they are the future of the organization. We want to attract them and keep them here. That's the whole objective here.
Thank you so much, sir. The journey that both of you has taken up is truly inspiring and amazing. You have touched and changed the lives of many. So, and now we are coming to the end of our show. So I would like to ask Nirmala ma'am to give a good message to the young people and to all our viewers.
I always say, everybody cannot be Mother Teresa's or whatever, Bill Gates or so on to do charity, but to do little things, look around. Even in your school, you may find a struggling student, volunteer to help him, tutor him. Look around. There are a lot of places your expertise is needed. Don't think you cannot do anything. And I think parents do more. Action speaks louder, they say. So when parents are volunteering, I see a lot of kids following that, whatever we do. When we go to India, my son volunteers at Netralaya just to gain that experience of being in India and being with the people. So I think children do observe the parents, so action speaks louder. So if parents are more involved in other than just working and making a life, and if they're involved in charity work, temple or any causes, I think the children will follow. And I think that is the younger generation is ready to help. It's just that we have to know how to tap them and get them, So for me, kids are running around taking this class and that class. Sometimes I say, I think parents should also encourage them to do some volunteer, because that they get 100-fold back, because the satisfaction that you get when helping another human being. I think that will be the loud message I would give.
Thank you, ma'am. So, Acharya Garu, we came to the end of our show, and I would like to request you to give concluding remarks and advice to our young people and to all our viewers.
About advice to young people, what I can say is one thing: there are three important assets anybody has: health, wealth, and time. And also, these keep on depleting pretty quickly. Health deteriorates, wealth one may never lose, time, of course, one day it has to come to an end. And these three assets people use for their three purpose: for one's own welfare, welfare of their own kids and kins and friends and relatives, and third parties, community at large. My advice to young people is use at least part of this, your wealth, if not the wealth, at least time, for good of the community at large. Somebody, a lot of people, some elderly people needing some help, or as my wife said, some young kid may be needing some support. Do something. Somebody may need a ride. Do some service to some people who are badly in need of it. This is all the message I can tell to younger people. Lastly, I'd like to thank Nirmala and my family for letting me use a number of hours I've been using on this organization for the last 33 years. And also I would like to thank Sushanta ji, Ragini ji, Mana TV, and also our own President Bala Indurti, who introduced me to Mana TV. Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Sri S.V. Acharya Garu and Nirmala Acharya Garu. It was truly inspirational to know both of your life journeys with Shankar Nethralaya and the activities you are taking up for the betterment of impoverished people. It's been such an honor talking to both of you. Thanks again for gracing our show with your presence. So, viewers, I'm sure you got to know a lot of information about Shankar Nethralaya, their mission, and the various activities they are taking up to do God's own work. With this, signing off, this is your host, Prashant.